In a small town, somebody is killing all of the beggars without rhyme or reason, and it's up to the clan leaders and a young practitioner of martial arts to find out why in Shi Pao Ko's The Secret of Shaolin Kung Fu. Secret of Shaolin Kung Fu, also known as Butterfly 18, is a 1979 Ocean Film Hong Kong production which stars Li Yi-min as Wu Han-wei, grandson of a blind homesteader played by Ku Cheng. Wu Han-wei works at the local restaurant as a busboy, while his grandfather secretly teaches him the principles of the butterfly style. As the busboy at the restaurant, Wei finds himself the constant victim of the waiter's bullying, which catches the occasional attention of the owner. Wu Han-wei also makes the acquaintance of an old beggar who pesters him for food and wine. The two strike up an odd relationship which somehow gets Wu Han-wei in trouble with some local thugs. Wei and the old beggar disperse the trio of men who are harassing a young woman. Unfortunately, the three men have a master that is a bit tougher and seeks the two out to get revenge on behalf of his pupils. When he catches up to our heroes, he bests Wei, but is eventually beaten by the old beggar. This movie has three storylines, and now will be a good time to discuss them before we continue. First, there is the story of our hero, Wu Han-wei, and his growth and maturity as a character and as a fighter. Then there's this strange storyline about a quadruple amputee who is roaming the countryside, and when he comes across certain people, they immediately commit suicide for some strange reason. And then there's this group of men that are going around killing every beggar in sight. The movie spends a lot of time establishing these three threads without making any real connections until the last 20 minutes of the film, which is kind of strange. But anyway, back to our heroes. Wu Han-wei is out gathering firewood when he happens across the aforementioned gang killing some beggars. With his last dying breath, one of the beggars mentions something to Wu Han-wei. The moon is bright, the water is dark. This weighs heavy on the mind of our young hero, and he mentions what he saw and heard to the old beggar. The old beggar tells Wei to forget what he saw and disappears. Our hero returns home and continues his training with his grandfather, but it's not long until he mumbles the dying man's words, and his grandfather overhears him. Wei is told to never mention this again, and he asks why, but is not given a reason. We are now introduced to a mysterious character in a straw hat who is having a conversation with the apparent leader of the men who have been killing the beggars. They plan another attack on a group of vagrants in what I think is one of the most poorly lit fight scenes in the history of Kung Fu movies. What the hell? I can't see a thing. The remaining beggars, and apparently there are a lot of them, decide they need to find a new leader, so they go about town with their sacred chant in hopes that the coded message will reach their long-lost master who disappeared 18 years earlier. Meanwhile, the beggars' killings continue, and Wei keeps being in the wrong place at the wrong time. This time, the killers follow Wei home, much to their dismay, as Granddad deals with them, Daredevil style. Prior to the attack, Grandfather sent Wu Han-wei to fetch some firewood. While he is out, he meets up with the old beggar and the two engage in some fun with an iron ring. The beggar slips off and interrupts the killing of some other beggars. Wu Han-wei catches up to the beggar just as he is finishing the killers off, but a stray manages to get away. That stray recognizes Wu Han-wei and tells his boss about the old beggar and where Wei works. He brings a group of men to the restaurant and start trouble. When the men threaten the life of the owner, Wu Han-wei finally gives us what we've been waiting for, some butterfly-style fighting. The old beggar, who is watching in the wings, recognizes the fighting style and follows Wei home. He realizes that Wei's grandfather is the estranged leader of the beggars' gang, and he reunites them with his people. Now, remember that man with no legs and arms going about the countryside? Well, turns out that this man, whose name is Lu Ping, was wrongly accused of killing a great champion, Wu Ning-hai. A group of men, including Wei's grandfather, hunted him down and wounded him. Turns out that he came across the slain bodies of Wu Ning-hai and his wife. Whoever killed them did not kill their sleeping baby, however, and so Lu Ping took the baby and was on the run when Wei's grandfather caught up to him. As penance for wounding the wrong man, Wei's grandfather blinded himself, took the baby, and retired from the beggars gang. This explains why the other men committed suicide whenever they saw Lu Ping. Now, remember that group of men who have been killing all the beggars? Turns out they are the Bright Moon Gang and have been hired by the man in the straw hat to start killing beggars in order to draw Wu Ningwei and his adoptive grandfather out in the open to finish what he started. Yes, that's right. He is the killer of Wu Ningwei's real father, Wu Ninghai. Confusing? Doesn't matter, because the last 20 or so minutes make up for all the craziness that happens earlier, including a fight between Wu Hanwei and the leader of the Bright Moon Gang, and the finale between our young hero and the man in the straw hat, Xiao Shui, played by Sung Jung Chi. Secret of Shaolin Kung Fu is an okay movie that is worth a watch if you're just chilling on a Saturday afternoon with nothing to do. Still, one of Li Yi Min's better outings, but not his best. So let's talk about it. The pros. The Secret of Shaolin Kung Fu does a really good job of establishing a bunch of characters that really care about our hero. There's literally a cavalcade of people lining up to give a damn about Wu Hanwei, and I kinda dig it. The fight choreography was not too shabby, but I think the movie waits too long to show off the butterfly style. The blind man's trap, however, set up by Grandfather, was pretty smart, placing the bad guys on his turf. And lastly, the song that plays whenever Lu Ping appears is a hauntingly epic tune that you will likely remember long after the movie is over. Chen Chong Chong. The cons. As someone who is a big fan of opening forms in the beginning of movies as an appetizer as to what's to come, I thought this movie's opener was lackluster. Hey, let's put Li Yi Ming in a room with a bunch of potted plants and let him do his thing. Terrible idea, especially after the fantastic opener of Seven Commandments of Kung Fu. The title of this movie is fundamentally misleading. The movie has nothing to do with, nor does it mention Shaolin one single time. And there are literally no secrets of Kung Fu or philosophy shared in this movie. I think Butterfly 18 is a more appropriate title. The plot and storyline in this movie are convoluted and incomplete. No, linear storytelling is not the only way to make a movie, but this movie has plot holes and characters without real motivations that muddy the waters, particularly the main villain. Speaking of the main villain, I thought that Sung Jung Chi was completely wasted and should have been worked into the story more. Also, I think the movie would have benefited from the villain having a defined style as a counter to the hero's butterfly style. Feels like a missed opportunity. Overall, I think that The Secret of Shaolin Kung Fu is an okay movie whose storytelling and lack of a standout villain lower the impact of the overall feel. It's a movie that I would watch as an appetizer to a better Li Yi Min movie such as Seven Grandmasters, but still worth a watch. So I'll give it a middle-of-the-road 5.5 kicks. Well, that's all for now. Tell us how you feel about The Secret of Shaolin Kung Fu. Is it a hit or a miss? Comment below and let us know. And please hit that like, subscribe, and notification button for more great content. On behalf of myself and the rest of the gang here at Lone Wolf and Cub, this is OG Ant signing off. Peace and what's up?